Alrighty folks, we got a new cycle starting on June 23rd, and while there's a lot of things that are going to be actually overlap from the previous cycle, which is often the case by the way, that there are going to be definitely some things that we introduce that is new as well. So yeah, the goal of most of these training cycles is for them to blend into one another where you don't really notice a big change. So for example, one of the things that we were working on the previous cycle in our CrossFit programming was moving from primarily front squats, the previous cycle, into back squats. We're actually going to continue that same progression, but we're going to move it from Monday to Friday. Again, the main reason for that is because we have people who come on different days, and if they never come on Mondays, for example, they never get to back squat. So if someone's in a very much routine where they come on certain days of the week, I try to spread out where they're actually getting different things throughout the year, so that way they're not always getting a leg intensive workout on Monday, for example. Like 2 cycles ago, we squatted on Tuesday for that reason. If there's people who come Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Tuesday's always like more of an upper body day, then they lack that a lot. So that's one of the things I try to do is spread it out. So yeah, as I said, our back squat is moving to Friday. We're also on that day, since I'm on Friday, we're also probably going to do a lot of like benchmark type workouts again. Because it's been a little bit since we've done just some like more classic type of workouts. So benchmark workouts, they could be girl workouts, they could be some of the benchmarks here that we have for the gym. It could just be, ones that are common to do in the CrossFit community, but that'll be sort of like a fun, I'll try to make them where they're, something that is different, enjoyable, and yet kind of classic in the same way. So that's Friday. It was more of what we were doing on Monday previously. Now, if we backtrack to Monday, what we're doing in this cycle, we're going to keep it a little bit more leg intensive on this day. So we'll do some weightlifting, so probably clean or snatch to start off, and then something that's maybe strength endurance based, and we'll probably involve that in a workout. So strength endurance, just think about like, okay, you're lifting a moderately heavy weight and you're going to do it for multiple reps. And it's going to be in a workout scenario where you're also having to be breathing. So multiple things that we can work on. And then a good chunk of the time we'll add in some sort of joint health on that day as well. Tuesday, we're gonna do some overhead lifting of some type. Again, if we're doing cleans and snatches, or especially if we're doing like cleans, right? You're not getting any overhead. It's a good option to go and split maybe the clean and the jerk and put the jerk on a different day. In this case, it might be a jerk one day, but it could very well just be like something that's more strict pressing and pulling, which I'm gonna make sure we're incorporating in the cycle as well. So again, it could be vertical pressing, horizontal pulling. A lot of the time I'm going to try to involve horizontal pulling because we don't get that as much in CrossFit. So think about like hands out in front of you pulling to your body. Something like a ring row or a bent over row are great options for there. So we'll make sure that we're doing some overhead lifting and as well as horizontal pulling on that Tuesday. And then our workout's going to be something that's, again, a little bit more aerobic, a little bit longer time domain, a little bit, just think of it as like a long sweaty workout. But we'll make sure that we vary the takes of that as well. Wednesday, we'll do some sort of barbell cycling to start off, and that'll probably be something where it's in different scenarios where we're gonna have an opportunity to teach from that. As well as in the workout, we'll make sure we're involving hanging gymnastics. So think about hanging from a bar or rings, and then you're obviously something like toe to bar or pull-ups are all examples of that, or even rope climbs. And then we'll also maybe get some bicep accessory on that day. Thursday, we are gonna continue to have that to be a little bit lower of a day at the gym. For the CrossFit programming at least, kettlebell is always going to be like a full workout regardless of which week it is. And then again, we'll try to get on the ergs quite a lot. We'll try to do more things that are like time under tension based. So often, tempos for the lifting, or maybe more upper body bodybuilding style of workouts, things like that, just to keep things enjoyable and fresh and just a little bit different from the normal challenging CrossFit workouts on that day. Friday, as I said, it's back squat, benchmark workout type deal. And then Saturday, again, for people who are coming in the morning at 7 a.m., that's the name game. Again, it's basically a group workout. So people go through it together. It's not coach-led, but there's warm-ups and all that stuff that's involved. So again, that's posted on the website every time that you can either do on your own in the open gym time, or you can obviously jump into the 7 a.m. group. Again, most of the time, Stacy's going to have her 9 a.m. boot camp on Saturdays as well. It's not officially on the schedule because she's not married to that time slot. However, most of the time she's going to have it, so stay tuned for when she announces that as well. So a quick announcement about Kettlebell Programming. Kettlebell programming is now going to have elements of the class that mirror the CrossFit programming. Whereas before they were kind of two separate things a lot of the time, now they're going to be synced up for the most part, right? There's going to be things that are always different between the two. Obvious ones is that you're using a lot more kettlebell and not using barbell in kettlebell classes, things like that. Obvious situations that are different, but there's also going to be more patterns that are hit on a daily basis in kettlebell because it's only twice per week. Additionally, what's this going to allow for, first of all, that the fact that they're a little bit closer together, besides it being a logistical nice thing where it's like if the air bikes are out, we can leave them out for kettlebell programming, that sort of thing. It also allows someone to go from Monday CrossFit class and go into kettlebell class on Tuesday and know that they're not going to have the exact same thing that they had on that Monday class. Like, oh man, we did 100 squatting reps on Monday, we go into kettlebell class and oh, we have to squat again. Things like that we're trying to avoid. So because there are people that go back and forth between the two. Again, for people who are only doing the kettlebell programming, if they're concerned about that, it's still my job, and I'll make sure that you're getting all the different patterns within the week: squat, hinge, press, pull, core, machines, all the stuff that you want to be involved with. I'm going to make sure that we still get that on a weekly basis. It's just now that people who want to go back and forth between CrossFit and kettlebell, it's going to be much more seamless, that transition. The other thing that this is important for is that people are going to not want to do a CrossFit class and the kettlebell class on the same day. So for example, there's been people before who come in the morning and do a CrossFit class, and in the evening they'll come and do the kettlebell class. Not that you couldn't do that, but it probably isn't the best option for you moving forward because, again, they're going to have elements of it to it, at least, that are similar. So just be aware that if you choose to do that, you're going to be hitting a lot of the same things, and it's probably not ideal. That being said, like I alluded to, kettlebell is always going to have all patterns all the time, conditioning, strength, complexes, every single class. It's very consistent. So in addition to hitting basically everything all the time, essentially, full body workout every time, I'm going to make sure we specifically do plenty of strict pressing and pulling in this next 6 weeks. So things that are, again, not, overhead jerks, not kipping pull-ups, things that are truly strict. So like, again, strict ring rows, strict inverted rows, bent over rows, strict press, bench press, those type of variations where, again, it's actually requiring a lot of strength in the upper body, because again, that's one of the things that people have been asking for, and I want to keep continuing to provide to them. We had tested basically a 1 rep max strict pull-up and then retested at the end of the 6 weeks of the previous kettlebell cycle, and some people saw some good results. So I'm excited to keep those going and continue that. So finally, we have bar crawl coming up. That's really our big thing that we're going to be pushing people to do, and honestly, it's really exciting and a good time every year. It's going to be on September 6th at New Trail Brewing. So basically, there will be a deadlift ladder, and I'll link to this because there's going to be a video explaining all of it. But there's a deadlift ladder, and after a break, after that window shuts, then there will be a 1 mile run afterwards, and the score for all of those are an aggregate between the two. It's always a good time, and it's right at the beginning of fall, so weather should be nice. And again, I'll link to that bar crawl video so you can check it out. See you next time.